Ready? All right, we're going to get started. I'll call the St. Paul City Council to order. Roll call.
Yang, Jalali,
Here.
Naker,
Here.
Prince,
Here.
Tao,
Here.
Tolbert,
Here.
Council President Brenmoen.
Here.
6 present, 1 absent, being Councilmember Yang, who is excused.
Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Consent agenda items 3 through 17 are before you for your consideration.
And we will be taking item 10 separately. Is there anything else on consent that we should consider separate? Seeing none, Mr. Tao moves the balance of the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The consent agenda is adopted as amended. Item 10 is Resolution 22-882, approving adverse action against the liquor on sale Sunday, liquor on sale 2 a.m. closing, liquor outdoor service area patio, and entertainment B license held by Raz Ethiopian Bar and Restaurant, LLC, doing business as Raz Restaurant and Lounge at 2516 7th Street West.
All right, and on this item, we requested an informational update from our city attorney's office.
Council President, council members, I was asked to give a bit of a background procedurally. That way individuals in the audience can all hear where this matter is procedurally. This is before the council for a adverse action. Upon the conclusion of whatever this council decides, the appellant will have the ability to proceed a remedy at the Court of Appeals. However, consistent with our legislative code and our ordinances, the opportunity for a public hearing in front of this body is not available at this time. So this matter was put on the consent agenda. It's being pulled to explain so everyone can understand exactly where it is procedurally and what the body has asked today.
All right, thank you. On this item, Mr. Tolbert moves approval of the adverse action. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
I have a question. I just wondered if I realized that the deadlines were missed for seeking the attention of a administrative law judge, and I wondered if the fact that the deadline was missed requires us to act today.
So procedurally, the item is before the council for a final action. So the opportunity to engage in a hearing in front of the administrative law judge is passed. This body could postpone a vote by delaying it, but to be able to go backwards in time procedurally is not an avenue available.
And the next step would be the Court of Appeals.
Correct. Should the matter proceed to an adverse action, and the applicant and appellant in this matter not like the determination of this body, there would be an avenue at the Court of Appeals.
All right, any other questions on this item? Mr. Tao.
Thank you, Council President. Adam, so to clarify, has there already been an appeal, or does this action needs to happen first, then the appellant can appeal?
So procedurally, the Department of Safety and Inspections provided a factual background for the violations, and the applicant, or the license holder in this case, was provided with those recitations of facts and findings, and it was a recommendation that adverse action be taken. There are another number of options laid out to the license holder, one of which was to request a hearing in front of an administrative law judge. That was not exercised. Therefore, this matter was put before this body for a finding to conclude that the Department of Safety and Inspections recommendation should stand and that the adverse action proceed.
Okay, and so to clarify, it sounded like DSI had a conversation with the license holder, and I think this is important for the record because I think the license holder is a immigrant of descent, and so it seems like that is the understanding that the license holder understands that? Is that
Yes, so there have been a number of communications with the license holder in this matter, Councilmember Tao. There also was a recent inquiry from the legal counsel for the license holder. There have been communications to the legal counsel for the license holder explaining the process, where things are at. Most recently, I believe a letter went out today explaining the substance of all this. So yes, there have been adequate communications, due process provisions have been put in place, and the process is as it should be.
okay? And I think that's important to hear because I've received some calls and inquiry about this issue, and I think it's important for folks at home and here to understand the backstory that those action has taken place and has led up to this point, in that there's communication and there is no barriers, English barriers or language barriers or misunderstanding of anything.
Council President, Councilmember Tao, that is correct. The Department of Safety and Inspections has followed all the required due process elements. There were communications that went out. This certain license holder does have legal counsel who has been communicating with both our office, the City Attorney's Office, as well as the Department of Safety and Inspections. So the channels of communication are very clear.
Thank you, Adam.
Ms. Jalali.
Thank you. I appreciate the chance to discuss this on consent. I wanted to just explain, because it appears there's lots of community members here. There isn't, what I'm hearing from our attorney is that there isn't a way under the law that we have to follow to be able to do anything backwards at this point. What we can do is vote, and that's really it. It's also clear to me from the case file that there are a lot of violations and issues happening at this restaurant that is important to note, because we want to support businesses in our community in succeeding, and also we have to enforce our code. So it's my understanding the action today is based on the documentation at the site. Personally, with any business, I want to make sure that they can be successful, and also if we're going to depart from the codes, there has to be a reason for that, and I wasn't seeing in the file anything that would allow us legally to depart from the code. That is my understanding, I think there are people here today who want to testify in some kind of public hearing, but that actually isn't an option with the item we're doing right now. There are rules we have to follow to notice a public hearing. There are different types of items that get public hearings. This isn't one of those, and I just think that's important to share because it can be confusing. So I'm voting today on this item because it's my understanding there aren't actually alternatives that would provide otherwise to address the problem, but I recognize that that is likely could be challenging to understand, and we want to make sure communication is as good as possible going forward.
Council President and Councilmember Jalali, just one item of clarification. There are alternative avenues for which a resolution could have been achieved. However, the license holder in this case did not exercise those avenues, and that's why the matter is in front of you procedurally.
Thank you.
All right, so there's a motion. Any other discussion on the motion? Ms. Prince?
Yeah, do I understand, Mr. Niblick, that this body could decide to send it to an ALJ even though that deadline passed, or are you recommending that we don't do that?
Council President, Councilmember Prince, under our administrative code, the avenue for taking the matter to the ALJ, I believe, has expired. So procedurally, the action is before this body for a final determination on the adverse action.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted. Item 18 is Resolution 22-928, accepting the report of the St. Paul Reparations Legislative Advisory Committee.
Ms. Prince?
Thank you. This morning at our policy session, the St. Paul City Council heard from the St. Paul Reparations Legislative Advisory Committee that has completed its work. And we will be accepting their their work by resolution at this meeting. I just want to back up a little and provide some context for this item. From Dred and Harriet Scott being deemed to permanently be slaves, even in the Free Territory of Minnesota, to the Great Migration, when African American people moving north to Minnesota were met with redlining, racial covenants, and discrimination in areas of education, healthcare, housing, and employment, the St. Paul City Council acknowledges the debt our city owes to African American descendants of chattel slavery. Even once our city's African American middle class had established a foothold in the neighborhood of Rondo, our city and state demolished that community for the construction of Interstate 94 just a couple of generations ago. On January 13th, 2021, this council unanimously sponsored and passed a resolution committing the city to racial healing through the exploration of reparations for American descendants of chattel slavery living in St. Paul. The resolution appointed a 12-person legislative advisory committee 1 year ago this week for that purpose, and to draft an ordinance that would create a permanent reparations commission in St. Paul. That committee did just that after a year of hard work and multiple public forums and extensive research. It completed its work and presented it this morning to us at 10 a.m. And you can watch that video just go on our calendar and you can find that video to see that presentation. They presented an ordinance to create a St. Paul Recovery Act Community Reparations Commission, and they created a companion report of all of their findings over the past year. Included in that is a very extensive bibliography assembled by the remarkable research librarians at our St. Paul Public Library that serves as a foundation for our city's reparations work going forward and a resource for our entire nation for consideration of this issue. The next step in the creation of reparations for African descendants of chattel slavery is a very important one for our community. I want to thank the Legislative Advisory Committee chaired by Trarin Cruz, Uhuru Williams, and Veronica Burt, whose committee met throughout this past year to achieve this large body of work. I also want to thank City Council staff Marcia Mormond, Kat Beltman, and Polly Hines for their commitment over this past year to multiple evening meetings, lots of time outside of work to serve the committee. And finally, I want to thank the St. Paul Public Library and Director Catherine Pankert and research librarians Toddy Turfa, Ronald Paulson, Kathleen Conger, and Morgan Strickland for compiling the extraordinary bibliography that now serves as a local, state, and national resource on this issue.
Thank you, Ms. Prince. That was a good recap of a conversation that we had this morning, and again, encouraging people that would like to see a more in-depth version to check out the website for the recast. So I will take that as a motion from Ms. Prince. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted. Item 19 is now the oath of office for Angie Weesey, the new Director of the Safety and Inspections.
Angie, if you could join us up at the podium, Ms. Moore will swear you in and make it official.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Angie Weesey,
I, Angie Weesey,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to support the constitutions
to to support the constitutions
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Minnesota,
and of the state of Minnesota,
and to discharge faithfully
and to discharge faithfully
the duties devolving upon me
the duties devolving upon me
as the Director of the Department of Safety and Inspections
as the Director of the Department of Safety and Inspections
of the City of St. Paul
of the City of St. Paul
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations.
Director Weezy, we voted on this a couple weeks ago, so you're safe if you'd like to say a few words.
You know, I'll have to remember this point in time anytime I come up here under some more dire circumstances than this moment right here. I just want to thank all of you for your support. I want to thank my family, my friends, my work colleagues. It's been a tremendous amount of support that I've received, starting with the really 16 years ago when I started with the city. This city is full of wonderful, beautiful people who have such generous hearts and have given their time and their expertise, not only to me, but to this community. So I really, really appreciate everything that I've been blessed with through the city, and thank you for your support. I do wish my father could be here to see this. He passed about a year and a half ago, and although he's not here with us, he probably foresaw this happening when I didn't. So thank you.
Director Weezy, just a quick question. I was whispering to Adam. Has there ever been a woman in charge of DSI in the city of St. Paul before?
There was actually.
Okay. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if there hasn't been, but wonderful. Well, welcome. We're all looking forward to working with you, and it's wonderful to have your team here and supporting you as well as your family. I looked over and I'm like, oh, I can tell who was related to Angie. It's wonderful, but congratulations. We're delighted, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Item 20 is the final adoption of ordinance 22-26, amending section 409.07 of the legislative code to allow Sunday sales in micro distilleries.
And this is before us for final vote. Any last comments? Ms. Prince moves approval. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Item 21 is the final adoption of ordinance 22-28, amending Chapter 2.02 of the Administrative Code pertaining to the duties of the Office of Financial Empowerment, authorizing support for early learning.
All right, and this is final vote on this ordinance. Any discussion before we move to a final vote? Ms. Naker moves approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Item 22 is the first reading of ordinance 22-30, amending Chapter 409 of the Legislative Code to align with recent changes in Minnesota statute following the passage of the legislative omnibus bill that affects small brewers, distillers, and wineries.
This item is, I feel like the title is fairly self-explanatory. There was a change in the legislature which allowed more flexibility for our small brewers, distillers, and wineries. The effort here is to amend our ordinance to allow more flexibility with sales of 4-packs and 6-packs, things that we see in liquor stores, but it cannot be sold on site. Digging into this a bit further, we recognize that the changes in the state statute were a bit more expansive. And so we are going to try to move this forward quickly so that our small brewers, distillers, and wineries can take advantage of this summer in the city of St. Paul, but also recognizing there may be some tweaks and changes by the public hearing next week to just make sure we accommodate all of the details therein, the changes allowed by the state. So this is first reading, and we will lay this over for 1 week to a public hearing on June 22nd.
Item 23 is resolution public hearing 22-115, ratifying the assessment for the 2021 street maintenance service program mill and overlay on Red Rock Road.
And Ms. Prince, did you seek a staff report on this item?
No, I don't
All
think we
right.
need one.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here on item 23, resolution 22115? Seeing none, Ms. Prince moves to close the public hearing and approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 24 is Resolution Public Hearing 22-118, ratifying the assessment for improvements to the east-west alley bounded by Fuller, Aurora, Western, and Virginia.
And we're seeking a staff report on this item, Mr. Towle. No. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here for item number 24? Seeing none, Mr. Towle moves to close the public hearing and approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 25 is Resolution Public Hearing 22-119, ratifying the assessment for replacement of sanitary sewer services within the right-of-way as part of the Griggs Sheffer Phase 1 paving project.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to item 25? Seeing none, Mr. Towle moves to close the public hearing and approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 26 has been withdrawn. Item 27, Resolution Public Hearing 22-159, approving the applications of the Minnesota United FC for sound level variance applications in order to present amplified sound on July 2nd, July 13th, and the 16th within the Street and Beer Garden area at Allianz Field, 400 Snelling Avenue North.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to item number 27? Seeing none, Mr. Towle moves to close the public hearing and approve. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 28, Resolution Public Hearing 22-157, approving the application of the United Hmong Family LLC for a sound level variance in order to present amplified sound on July 2nd and 3rd at 1151 Wynn Avenue, McMurray Fields.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to this item? Come on up. Do you like to speak? As you're walking up, I will just say, yay! This is the first time that we've had the celebration, the J4, as we like to refer to it, in a couple years because of COVID. So it's very exciting to pass a sound level variance, which to me says the party is back on. If you could just step up to between the two microphones, introduce yourself, tell us where you live, and then before you walk away, make sure you sign in on by the clipboard. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Madam President, Council. I'm Sanku, the event chair for July 4th for the Hmong International Freedom Festival. Very happy to be here and very happy to be in the presence of such a very important body. We are here today because we have applied for some variance for our event on those days, July 2nd and 3rd. With me is Mi Vang, the president of our organization.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here. This event will be our 40th event. We've halted this event due to the pandemic, and just coming back has been very emotional with financial and the struggles with the pandemic hurting this community and everywhere around. We're excited to be here, bringing back full force with people and family members reaching out, excited to come back, and just the vibrancy that it brings back to the Hmong families and especially the businesses locally here in the Twin Cities and this whole state. So we just want to thank all of you for giving us the time to speak about the sound variance and providing entertainment to families that come out every year to enjoy this event.
Thank you. I would just say that I live about a block and a half away from McMurray Fields, and I look forward to this event so much. It's just watching the coalescence of people and hearing music and cheering, and just you can tell there's activity, and it's really a wonderful, wonderful gathering. I'm proud that we hosted in St. Paul. I think the thing I love the best is on the second day when we get into this, from the quarterfinals to the semifinals to the final games, you can hear like the cheering of the crowd get increasingly loud and loud and loud. And I always know when the festival is over because like the crowd erupts in a huge cheer and there's fireworks, in the air. And it's just a really exciting time. So I've missed it. I'm delighted that you've decided to carry on and do this. I think the fit in the I guess it's not so new anymore, but reconfigured McMurray Field seems to be a better fit for the festival. And I'm just so pleased that you're here and moving forward because we've missed you and really, really honored to have you back. Any other comments, Mr. Tao? And then Ms. Jalali.
Thank you, Council President. This is as a Hmong American, that a lot of us has been looking forward to this. I want to applaud your organization, your courage to take on the responsibility of bringing this festival back. And it's the United Hmong family, but it's welcome to anybody. And I know we've got international participant and guests, and it's like a great Minnesota get-together sort of way, in a Hmong way, and it's to honor the veterans, to honor the folks who have sacrificed their lives so that we could be here. This year we have seen some parade and other big event was not able to afford it in a way, and so you're taking a lot of financial risk to do this, and we appreciate that. And so good luck and best wishes to everybody.
Thank you.
Ms. Jalali.
I just wanted to echo all of that, and I was going to appreciate Council President Brenmon, who lives right by the festival. I feel like we all kind of collectively represent this event, and I'm happy to be the sponsor. I just look forward to this event every single year and feel like it makes our city a special place. So I won't add on to everyone else has spoken so well to it already, but thank you for all of your work. I know you've been working closely with Parks and with multiple offices and the administration and all our community partners, and we're looking forward to seeing you out there. Thank you.
Great. So I will take that as a motion to close the public hearing and approve. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as we leave here, I just want to extend a warm invitation to all of you, especially when you live just in the vicinity, and to all of you too, ladies and gentlemen, to come and join us on our festival.
Item 29 is Resolution Public Hearing 22-160, approving the application of St. Anthony Park Community Foundation for a sound level variance in order to present amplified sound on July 4th at 2300 Como Avenue, Sunrise Bank parking lot.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to this item? Seeing none, Ms. Jalali moves to close the public hearing and approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Legislative hearing consent agenda items 30 through 40 are before you for your consideration.
Good afternoon, Ms. Mormont.
Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. To the best of my knowledge, there is no one here in person to testify and no one on the line.
All right. This is the legislative hearing consent agenda, items 30 through 40. If you're here to speak on items 30 through 40, this is your public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to this item? Seeing none, Ms. Prince moves to close the public hearing and approve as amended. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion prevails.
6 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearings are closed and the consent agenda is adopted as amended. That brings us to the end of our print agenda before we go today, which has been quite a day with our org committee meeting and so on. Just would like to see if folks have any news from the wards or announcements that they'd like to share. Ms. Jalali, then Ms. Prince.
I am just excitedly sharing that Youth Pride with St. Paul Parks and Rec is back at Como Park. Please come on out and celebrate Pride. It is an amazing event with LGBTQ youth and our Parks Department every year, and I'm personally very excited to go. So I believe it's 1 to 6 p.m. It's happening starting around 1, and it's at the Como complex. So look up St. Paul Parks and Rec for all the details, and hope to see you there on Saturday.
And that, when you say the Como complex, is this the one that's down by the picnic pavilions
Yes.
and the big open field?
Yep.
Kind of at the intersection of Como and Lexington.
Yep,
Good
yep,
times.
thank you.
Good times. All right, other Ms. Prince and then Ms. Naker.
Yeah, I'd like to invite everyone to a Juneteenth celebration at Sunray Library this Saturday, June 18th, from noon to 3 at 2105 Wilson Avenue. Come and celebrate Juneteenth in the Sunray Library Garden. There will be performances, food, games, crafts, photos, and just a good time. The event is supported by the American Library Association, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Ms. Naker.
Thanks, Council President. This isn't a traditional piece of good news, but I just wanted to shout out to the Council President and let my colleagues know that I was inspired by her idea of having us do good news at the end of council meetings, and asked at the end of a community meeting recently if anyone had any good news to share just from their neighborhood, so that we ended on that note as opposed to some of the concerns we've been talking about. And I heard so many wonderful things that were going on in the neighborhood, from tiny balcony concerts that were started during COVID to bands playing under bridges and on and on. And so I feel like my repertoire of good news from the neighborhood level just expanded dramatically in that moment. So I just wanted to let others know that there's lots of opportunities for good news, and we could all sure use it. So
I think I'll have to do that after Thanksgiving with my family. I'm so excited to share that this week we cut the ribbon for Abogado's Coffee Cafe. It is the one and only coffee shop in all of Ward 5.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Somebody
Seriously?
is excited. No, it's amazing to believe. Usually when I say that to people, they try to argue. But no, it's the only coffee shop in Ward 5, and it's it's the first Latina-owned coffee shop in Minnesota. It is the only law-themed coffee shop that I am aware of. Abogados means lawyers. The two, Inta and Ofili are both lawyers, and also extraordinary, wonderful human beings who have decided to embark on this adventure. So I'm really excited. It's on Dale Street, just outside of Ward 1, so Di is allowed to join me there. 1053 Dale Street, near Como Front and Dale, and we're so over the moon excited to welcome them into Ward 5. Any other news before we go? Mr. Tolbert.
Just want to, and I know I talked about this last week, but the newest park in the St. Paul Park System opened up yesterday. I think we technically signed it over to the city late Monday night, was my understanding from Director Rodriguez. But great park. You can skateboard if you know how to skateboard or want to learn how to try. But it is a really beautiful park, and as my legislative aide has said, it's the nicest grass in St. Paul right now. So if you want to go have a picnic somewhere, it's probably a good spot to do it soon. So go check it out.
It was a great opening. Mr. Tolbert had great comments, and in the background there were kids on the skateboard the entire time. And during the comments, two teenagers who really had planted the seed of idea of having the skate park there spoke. 4 years later, they said they'd been dreaming of it their whole lives. We're like, all right. But really demonstrated that if you've got a good idea and you get involved, you can make a difference in the outcomes of these projects. And there was just kids and adults enjoying the skate park, and the grass was very green. You're right. So a wonderful backdrop. Thanks for the invitation. Any other comments before we go?